All right. Well, to get started then, Lucy, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really glad you're here. And I just want to share with everyone some background about Lucy. Lucy Kenzina is a certified international career management professional that has a specialization in career transition counseling, which I'm really excited to hear about, Lucy. We have a ton of mid-career professionals that reach out to us for advice on how to move from one career to another. So I'm really glad you have that as part of your background. But Lucy also specializes in workshop design and facilitation, labor market information, community capacity building, and placement partnership development. So some really widespread experience that I'm excited to learn from. Lucy is also a first-generation immigrant to Canada and a career changer. So I'd love to hear a bit about those stories as well, Lucy. I know you've said that you developed a passion and genuine interest in helping people who are going through new beginnings in their lives. And that's another huge segment of our viewership, are people who are new to Canada and trying to figure out, where to take their first steps again, so to speak. And one last thing I'll mention about Lucy before we hear a bit about her story in her own words is that you actually transitioned from a career in the biomedical field into career counseling. So that's a really interesting crossover as well. And we always like to start these episodes, Lucy, with just a chance to hear a bit about your story. I think people learn a lot from stories like yours. I think students especially feel like they're going to graduate and end up in their one career, but there are so many things that happen along the way. So do you mind just sharing some of the highlights from your story with us, Lucy?
Yeah, thank you, Imran. Thank you for having me. And definitely, my story is very normal for majority of immigrants to Canada. 25 years ago, I came to Canada as an internationally trained professional with 2 children and with a lot of great expectations to start my biomedical career. And it was actually hard as for everyone else. Definitely, I learned that all my planning, doesn't matter how much strategic planning skills you implemented in your transition into another country, you were still doing a lot of mistakes. You would meet a lot of unexpected circumstances that you have to adapt to. So basically, my story was, long story short, I was able to actually achieve very great success in 1.5 years by completion of another college program.
Okay.
And connecting with a lot of great professionals, including Canadian Women Foundation, a lot of employment services that supports immigrant in the transition. So basically, I moved through a lot of great challenges before I actually achieved my first career success. And 6 years later, after that, during 2008 recession, I realized that I actually want to use this challenge as an opportunity to move to another career, because since childhood I was always, dreaming about helping people and actually becoming a social psychologist. But at that time in my own country, it wasn't possible. People would consider psychology as a bourgeois science that nobody. So people would actually, like my father, father in Asian countries usually figure of influence. So I kind of got influenced and ended up in different careers. So I used this time when everybody was kind of going into crisis to embrace this time. I actually was the happiest person because I was afraid to move. I had 2 children, high school students who were under my wing that I had to care. And to make this change was really scary. So I went back to college and applied for this amazing loan that everybody in Ontario has access to, and it's called OSAP. Yes. And I was able to complete it with gold medal. I actually got it as a internationally trained professional. it was a great confirmation that I'm following my true path. You know, when you making these steps, and definitely my internships were very, very great confirmation as well, because I got involved in so many amazing projects with Toronto Employment Social Services, with youth services, youth job connections programs. So, and every time when I was getting involved, people were becoming more successful. And so basically, I can tell you, during my first day of internship, I fixed 4 resumes and all
Wow.
4 people got jobs. So
Oh,
that was
wow.
great confirmation
No
that
wonder they gave you a gold medal, Lucy.
yeah, so I was definitely on the right track. For me, it was a great evidence that you shouldn't afraid of change. If you pursue your dream career, you will be always successful, because life, people, they will recognize it. Because your true passion, your true natural talents will come across as your natural expertise, but it comes to you because it's your core talent. I don't know, like something like golden touch. I don't even know how to express it, but definitely that taught me that I can actually, my own success taught me that I can help people more. I can help people to succeed, to break those, fears, to break those shores, and help them to become more visionary in their own, selecting their own career pathways. So after working as a career coach and employment specialist or job developer, I actually started to feel that I can do more. And I went into more like working with people who are overcoming more transitional steps. So worked with career services for colleges and universities, for immigrant programs. For example, one of my last programs was mentoring pathways to employment for international trained professional. It was amazing, amazing program with almost like 90 during COVID. We had
Wow.
91% of employment rate for people entering this program. They would actually secure
Wow.
amazing full-time or contract employment during
That's
COVID.
unbelievable.
So that was, so mentoring definitely something that I embrace as well. Having support groups, having professional mentors, it's a must for career changers. So definitely, I think it's something I learned as well along the line. And I think that's all. I actually work for amazing edutech company that called Career Foundry. It's a German based, but
Okay.
it's a global company with headquarters in Berlin, and I help people to acquire in short term, like around anywhere from 6 months to 9 months. Additional professional certifications in different digital careers, data analyst, UX design, you name
Ah.
it, like web developer, marketing, digital marketing. So all these amazing new trends, I'm actually helping people to transition to those careers from various walks of life.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
super interesting. I'd love to get the name of that program so that when we share this, we can put a link to it. And if there are folks that are interested in making a career change like you, they can learn more about it. So I'll connect with you afterwards to get a link to that program. And what an amazing
So
story. Oh,
I will be
perfect.
happy to share. I can actually share much more links that would be helpful. So I actually prepared around 5 links that would be coming across throughout our conversations. So
Oh,
people
perfect.
can actually watch videos or read in their own time, their own pace.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to get those and make sure that we share them with everyone watching these clips and using this as motivation. I think it's an amazing story, Lucy, and
Thank you.
that career change at such a difficult point in your life is really encouraging to hear that you made that change while having 2 children and while being in a new country. I think that would be very daunting for most, but I'm so glad it didn't stop you. And I think that people will learn a lot from hearing that, hey, it is possible to still pursue these things that, it sounds like you've been interested in your whole life. And I think it's really interesting to hear that on your first day on the job, you already made an impact on 4 people. Now, specifically thinking about these resumes, what were the things you noticed? What kind of jumped out at you that you fixed on those first couple resumes?
Uh, those 4, so basically my approach was always treat resumes. That actually was my learning from amazing professors at George Brown College, that every resume is a story. Actually, in a way, same approach as you have in your programs, in your video conversations. So when you treat your resume not as an official HR document, but as an opportunity to self-appreciate yourself,
Huh.
to like think about this as a document that will help you to go into your future, like plan for what you want to achieve. And it doesn't matter what level of future. It could be 1 month, 1 year. Definitely, the more projected, the more success you can get. But if you don't have enough information, we can build a short term, like a short term oriented resume, and then match it and tailor it to specific needs of employers, and you will be successful. But we would always start from a story as well. So people would actually share something with me, what they really want in that short term. And I would actually think, so how do you think resume can help you with this? And we would arrange all the information in a way that it will embrace the most important strengths that they naturally like. So we would actually move it on the top of resume, and when they present themselves, they sound actually outstanding, outside of box, because they're very genuine, they're present, and resume helps during career phase as a secondary document anyway. Okay,
Right.
but the resume itself, the way how we build structure to the whole information, helps them to be authentic and not afraid to talk to strangers in a way. So they really cared about their stories, and they went to share it with employers. So they
Oh,
won. All 4 of them, I think, were prepared for that. So
that's
it was
so
just a
cool.
little trigger, just change of mindset. I think that would help them.
It is. It's such a small detail, but I've never heard it put that way, and it makes so much sense to think of it as a chance to tell a story. And that's so much more exciting to share with a stranger at a career fair, for instance, than, here's a list of things I'm trying to prove myself with or impress you with. Um, so different to tell a story about something you're genuinely excited about and a skill you're passionate about. I think that's a really cool tangible change of mindset that people can make, tomorrow, or as soon as they see this. So that's a really interesting insight.
Absolutely. And plus, considering that these days careers are not really linear, and
Wait,
it's almost impossible to put it in a lifeline of standard resumes, of the past decade. Okay,
yes,
so you need to organize your information the way how, or to organize your past to move you to who you are today and move you to the future, who you want to be in, let's say, 2 years or 5 years.
I see.
So basically, resume is an amazing tool. Resume. That's why I always advise to write resume uh, yourself, not ask, because some people paying huge money, but it
Right.
doesn't work for them. But if you actually walk through that content through your heart, not only your mind, okay, so you will actually add some authenticity to it. People will notice it. Okay, so that really important goal of resume. Okay, so because you outreach people with this document. Yeah, and later on we will manage to format it in more professional kind of HR type, but it will be still empowering document for you.
That's such an interesting point as well, that people really can tell when there's authenticity in something. And I think there are a lot of tools now that will automate the process of creating a resume or a cover letter. And maybe there's use, in that for a starting point, but if you don't write it yourself and you end up in the interview, there'll be a disconnect for sure. I definitely agree with that. That's such a
Absolutely,
good point.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And people, very good psychologists, they can feel it's not about lying. Yeah? So lying is definitely non-ethical. We don't even talk about that. But
Right.
any kind of too formal or too dry content, when
Yeah.
you can see nobody want to hear another duty list. Yes, so resume is not about listing your duties. It's about what could you achieve, what you can bring forward from your achievements in the past, something like that. So you would definitely need to prove that first to yourself, convince yourself first, and then you will be able to convince everybody else, that you can do it.
So kind of that gives me another a question to ask actually. So for yourself, right? And for the people that you're helping with career transitions, you mentioned taking a program. Maybe that was a George Brown where you took the kind of
Mhm.
first program to help you transition into this career. Is that typically what you recommend to people? Because I could see someone deciding, all right, I want to change from a career in biomedical sciences to something in career development like yourself, but having nothing to put on the resume and starting to think, okay, well, what can I do so I can tell a story about why, I'm passionate about this and what kind of skills I have. So when you meet people who want to transition careers, is there a general starting point that you tell them, uh, to pick up from?
Yes, it is. It is absolutely. We always have to figure out first what triggers that decision. So
Ah,
how authentic they in that transition, because sometimes people just move to this career out of desperation. It's a bit hard because you can end up in the same, I don't know, like situation would be as negative as in the previous careers if they're just following somebody advice without testing their own skills, testing their own passion and natural personality move, like whatever drives them and makes them happy. So it's actually a combination of skills, interests, values, self-actualization. So basically a lot of self-analysis involved. So we actually help people organize those thoughts, figure out what was it really true authentic decision. If not, we're doing much further exploration and see how we can actually find the niche still to bring that person into more matching opportunity. And then based on that, we will develop definitely great short-term and long-term career goals, and then steps, or we call it career change strategy. Okay,
huh.
definitely it will consist of different like networking, building your products, building your portfolio, and definitely it will involve a lot of support groups, like building great support groups around that person. Yeah, so but career change definitely similar to small business. So you would actually have a lot of correlation with successful startups. So what makes successful startups? Great partnerships. So the more and a lot of understanding of market. So
Yeah.
research. So a lot of research, feasibility study, so on, and partnerships. So same in job search. If you don't create those amazing support groups around you across all your, because career doesn't go separate from your life,
It's
personal
true.
life, from your other type of hobbies or interests, intertwined. So you would need to definitely make sure that you create your new career, you build it to keep it in balance with your other type of lives, your other needs. So we will make sure that it all aligns, and then off you go. I actually would say, you're on the right track. You're doing everything exactly and I will be there all the way to support you. So something like that. So I think I explained in detail,
Yeah.
but usually it's different for every person. But I just kind of average it in a way in
Yeah.
general, how usually these sessions go.
No, that's really helpful, Lucy. And I really like that the starting point is, did you make an authentic decision? I think you make a really good point. You could be making this big career transition into a job that is also not satisfying if you don't make sure that this is coming from a place of, um, like that it's truly something you want to do. So that's an interesting question to ask yourself as a job seeker is, what is making you want to make this change and why are you choosing the new field that you've chosen? So if people want to go through that process with someone like yourself, is that one of the links you have, or how can they learn more about um, getting support to have a conversation like that?
Depending on the status in Canada, there are a lot of great programs for new immigrants, for youth, for recent graduates, and different programs like Magnet, um,
Right.
Youth of Connection, as I mentioned, mentoring pathways to employment. There are a lot of great resources you can find on 211.
Okay.
You just check the services and find it if you have that status. If you international student, usually there are amazing resources and meetups. I'm actually surprised that they not advertising it through university sites. I've I've noticed every time when I meet with university student and ask, do you know meetups? They say no. And it's actually an amazing program for graduates and for current students for developing access to network, developing their public speaking skills, actually joining amazing internship opportunities as well. And it's not as competitive because they open only to university students, including international students. So they don't get discriminated there. Yeah,
Okay.
so and another program that they can get involved, specific to industry. Usually industry councils, they also don't have any discrimination. They don't care. And
Right.
you know, everybody has legal right. People actually have to learn the legal right. Canada has amazing employment law standards, employment standards that based on equity, diversity. You know, Canada is an amazing country and with amazing opportunities for people who dare. Okay, so they just need to get curious and open their mind. If they decided to achieve that, so don't do alone. Get as much help as possible. Get access to all these amazing programs. If you don't know how to get there, ask people like me. So see, like career maybe
Ah.
I'm
Okay,
a
that's
person
really
who
good to
maybe
know.
knows not knowing it all, but I know people who know specific. So they because I'm very immersed in this network, in local networks.
That's something I've really come to appreciate, is that reaching out to someone like yourself isn't just about what you can do for them, even though you can do a lot, like you're saying, you also know other people that can help, and you're kind of a gateway into this network of people who can support a job seeker. And so, um, I definitely recommend anyone watching this, if you're open to work, if you're a job seeker, if you have something in the back of your mind that's making you think maybe I could do what Lucy did, uh, reach out. Lucy sounds like the right place to start. The Career Maven sounds like the right place to start. So that's really helpful to hear, Lucy. And
Thank
I
you.
would definitely encourage people to do that. Now, later in the process here, let's say, you've gotten those supports, you've gone through creating the right resume, and you do get an opportunity to sit in front of someone and say, an interview setting. Have you
Mhm.
noticed things that are working well and some things that might not be working well? Do any of those come to mind for you?
If it's only regarding interview, definitely I can tell you before we start talking about that in job search everything is interconnected. You cannot really get into interview and be successful if you didn't do all the previous preparation that we already discussed. But it will definitely help you if you already have all this pre-employment preparation in a way, portfolio documents, your own authentic story, your research on that particular industry or employer. So basically, number one, I think, factor that makes you successful is that you prepare very relevant examples and cover in your stories at least like 5 pain points of that employer. So I always bring this story about hockey player and a mother of newborn baby. It doesn't matter how great public speaker you are, if you tell a mother of newborn baby about hockey games that she didn't even have time to watch and didn't have any interest in this, doesn't matter how great you are, how passionate you are, she will never retain even score of this game. And the opposite, if you're gonna talk to a hockey player who doesn't have own children or small siblings about baby food,
That's a
how
good
much they
point.
will retain.
Yeah,
So same
not
in
really on
preparation
their
for
mind.
interview.
Oh.
Yeah, so relevance is the key, and not just any relevance. So we brainstorm during our preparation. Usually I have 2 stages of preparation for interview. One, we actually brainstorm together with my clients through different website content, through annual reports, through job posting, like all the resources that we have, some repetitive patterns or so-called pain points. Okay, so you would actually figure out, because a meeting is very short, it's only 30, 40 minutes, how much you can cover. So you just have to prepare at least 2 examples covering one of these points. And so let's say it will be cross-functional team collaboration, would be your innovative attitude. Like it could be actually something that's general to all employers, but 2 or 3 could be very specific to only that employer.
Okay.
And you have to adjust your meeting, prepare the best matching examples from your portfolio, make sure that you practiced to answer maybe even some specific, or even prepare some ideas how you can fix this. I had one client who got internship with the Ontario government just because he just wrote an intention letter where he would describe how he would leverage his technical skills to solve problems for Ontario schools. And he was an international student. He never lived in Canada, but his ideas were amazing. He was amazing in his authenticity to help. And he got this job almost immediately from first interview.
Yes, and I was just going to ask that, how long does it typically take someone to get a job? And it's probably a tough question to answer because of situations like that. If you are authentic and genuine and you do the research and you put the time in, it could be as quick as, this individual you're talking about who sent in some great ideas and was offered the position. And for others, it might take longer, but I do think that the preparation is a huge factor.
Absolutely, absolutely. Preparation is the key. And you basically answered this question yourself. I don't compare yourself with others, okay? Because everybody has their own journey, and you cannot compare because people have different background. So you all, it seems like you all completing the same program.
Yeah.
But if you look at for example, when I meet, I meet students every day and graduates. So for me, it's every time amazing new story to listen to. That's what I love about my work, that I never have boring days. never have routine days as well. So for me, it's always a new story. I never can approach with one measuring stick anybody. So people should have that respect towards their own pathway. So okay, so for some people it takes 2 weeks, for some people 2 months, for some people maybe 8 months. But maybe it means you didn't create enough support, so we actually analyze what worked, what didn't work for every particular case. Yeah,
That's
so you cannot really treat it as a failure if you didn't get the job within. So, but some people would ask, okay, so if I have financial need and I need job like yesterday, what I can do? So definitely there are a lot of solutions for that. We remember we talked about short term, long term. So if we cannot achieve long term fast enough, considering your financial situation, we usually discuss some interim still relevant to your goal opportunities that would be more feasible to achieve in matter of 1 month, so 2 weeks or 4 weeks, and it still will be considered as a success because it will bring you much closer to your long-term career goal. Yes,
that
so
is
basically that's my
yeah.
advice to people, kind of open your mind to alternative like plan B, plan C opportunities.
That is super helpful, Lucy, because I hear people ask all the time, why did so and so get a job and I still haven't found one? And people do compare themselves to their peers, and it's so true. It's important not to compare yourself to other people and to respect that, yeah, you have your own journey and it's going to be different for everyone. I think that's really helpful to hear. I really appreciate also the insight into there might be other things you have to do along the way towards your long-term goal. There might be short-term goals that aren't that final goal that are also wins, that are also victories because they're helping you get a little closer. That's really clarifying to hear. I think a lot of people would think, hey, if I'm not there, if I'm not at the long-term goal, then I am not doing it right. I haven't achieved the goal yet. But those steps along the way should be considered victories. I really like that. That's very helpful to hear.
Absolutely, absolutely. The most resilient people never treat failure as failure, actually. They treat it as that kind of opportunities to learn and to grow. So basically I remember my very first week in Canada when I didn't realize how my English wasn't I was thinking in my mind that I'm ready, my English is perfect, but it was from the perception of my teacher in my original country. And when I came here, I realized that my English is only one way communication. So my accent was really hard at that time. I myself wasn't perceiving information because even sometimes our difference in cultural difference can affect perception hardly. But the very funny, very anecdotal situation happened to me when because I was at that time biomedical technologist, so I decided, okay, Sanofi is an amazing company that I can start from. So I found the address, took TTC first time in my life. I reached that, passed through a lot of different corridors, ended up in HR department. And the first question I was asked, how did you pass the security?
Oh,
And I didn't even know that I had to go in any particular
that
way.
was all part
I
of the
didn't know,
TTC.
but yeah, I can imagine. So it was actually my first failure. I didn't know some rules of, and he was kind enough to actually take it not as serious. He understood that it was my honest misunderstanding. I actually just followed people. You know how usually we
Yeah,
follow
through
people
the
in
gates or
subway.
something without
Yeah, so I just
see.
followed, and probably I was looking very confident, so people would just pass me through. Okay, but he gave me 30 minutes of amazing feedback session. I didn't
Wow.
get hired by Sanofi on that day, but he helped me a lot with what to do next. Okay, so
Dude,
basically,
go for
uh,
it.
what I advise to people when they get through all this type of resilience steps, never treat any failure as a failure. Yeah, so it's actually amazing, great stories to share later on, actually. How
Yeah,
you were changing yourself, how it was actually, how you were growing with each new step. So
that's a
basically, it's all about your mindset. Yeah, so either you staying low or you going up with every step that next step that you're taking.
Yeah, I really appreciate this conversation today, Lucy. And I feel like an overall theme of what I'm learning from your insights is how important your mindset is. It's, what is your mindset when you're writing the resume? Is it authentic? What's your mindset when you're choosing the new career path? What's your mindset along the way? It seems to keep coming back to that. And um, I do think that makes a huge difference. And I hope we can have you back on in a future episode. I feel like we're just getting started and we're already over the time I said that I would take of yours today. So I just want to thank you again for sharing these stories and insights. I truly hope you'll come back for a future episode and continue this conversation. And again, for those watching, please reach out to learn more about Lucy's program to see if it's a fit for you based on where you are. And keep looking for supports like this. It does make all the difference. And Lucy, we'll connect after to get the links from you and make sure people can
Absolutely.
find some of these resources.
So actually, that's my final advice for today. Then, so try not to try to be selective. Try not to act out of desperate mind. So that will help you to connect with the best kind of cream of the cream professionals in your field. When you have direction, when you have focus, you will never end up with any scammers or spammers or abusive situations. It can happen.
Oh yeah,
Unfortunately, I hear that a lot. So,
that's
so,
very
so
helpful as
those
well.
resources that usually you get from professionals, they're very legit, and you will never end up in those negative situations.
Yeah,
So,
that's a very timely reminder, Lucy. Thank you very much for that one. Especially these days, it's important to keep your eyes open and yes, not act out of kind of a desperate mindset. There are genuine resources and people here to help, and feel free to ask questions, everyone, in the comments, or send us a message, and we can point you in the right direction. And thank you again, Lucy, for your time today. It was
no problem.
fantastic speaking with you.
Same here. It was amazing to be here, and I hope if it will help at least to 3 people, that my mission was accomplished.
I'm
So
sure it will, and
I'm
anyone
very I believe in if we change one life at a time, our world will become definitely much better. I don't have rocket science plans, but I believe in being present for each other for every particular moment. And your project does it in such unique way. So
Thank
I
you.
really thank you for again for inviting me and for being part of this.
Oh, thank you very much, Lucy. And mission accomplished because I learned a lot from you. So you already have one. And we'll talk to you next time.
You have a
Bye.
wonderful day.
You too.